Welcome to BNOW, where we discuss what is happening in and around Brampton. My name is Don McLeod, and tonight we're going to cover a few topics. But in the meantime, we have one of our intern students, Mr. Om Sant, as the back-end producer. Fazal Khan is at his daughter's graduation. He couldn't make it tonight, so we have one of our interns. He's a returning intern, Mr. Om Sant. He is a University of Ottawa not a graduate yet. He's in his second year, but he's studying finance. How you doing?
I'm good, Donald. It's nice being behind the screens for once, and I'm excited to do this. I just want to say one thing, everyone. Brampton Focus City Studio. We're currently hiring 27 high school student interns. So if you know any interns that are in high school that are interested in 8 weeks of paid internship, please send us their LinkedIn accounts. Tell them to send their LinkedIn accounts on either don@citystudio.ca or faz@citystudio.ca, and that would be great. That would be highly appreciated. Thank you.
Good. That's very good, Om. Don't screw up, or you won't get another chance. Okay. All right. Good kid. Does a lot of work, and you know what? He's done a great job over the years. He's already doing a better job than Faz. I agree. We might have to change that. All right. So first things first, we're going to cover a couple of things. First things first, the Elaine Moore situation and the Charmaine Williams. Charmaine Williams originally or finally put in her not resignation, but I think it's just a decision to vacate the seat. She gave it on June 7th to be active on June the 8th. So once that vacation of seat came up, then council, that notice went to the city clerk, by the way, and then the city clerk calls the meeting, which there's a meeting tomorrow, and he's going to basically call out and say the seat is officially vacant. Now, several weeks ago, the six, basically the blocks of six, they decided to have a special meeting, and they decided to put forward Elaine Moore's name to fill that vacant seat. Well, that's not how it works. That's not how the Municipal Act works. It says when the vacated seat is officially vacated by the city clerk, then city council gets to basically vote whether they want to put someone in the seat, leave it vacant to the next election, or appoint someone. So that is happening tomorrow at city council. We're going to see what happens. I'll take your seat. Anyone can apply to actually take that seat, right? So, you have to be a citizen in good standing, resident. There's a whole bunch of criteria, but anyone can actually go and apply for that seat. It doesn't have to be an ex-councillor. There is a lot of people saying, I know the last meeting, Pat Fortini said, well, Charmaine, has the right to appoint her successor. No, she doesn't, Pat. That is not in the Municipal Act, and she does not have the right to appoint her successor. This is not like a royal patronage where you hand down the seat to someone you know. This is a democracy. It has to go through the Municipal Act, and that's what you guys at City Council are going to be doing tomorrow, and the city clerk. So she vacated her seat. That's official as of June the 8th. Any decision prior to that, as far as I understand from reading the Municipal Act, is no good. It's just no good, right? So we'll see what happens tomorrow. That's on the agenda for tomorrow's City Council. The other thing I heard is, by the way, there is a petition actually circulating out there in social media. I saw it. I'm not sure if it was on Facebook or Twitter, that basically wanted Elaine Moore not to be occupying that seat. So it was a petition. I can't remember where it was, but I did see it. If you're out on social media, clue in and take a look at it, because there is a petition out there not to have Elaine Moore step in and not to have her name on it. I mean, this is someone basically that took sides with a developer that was suing the city. Here she's a city councillor sitting, representing the residents, and then she actually testified against the city for the developer. All right. So to my mind, this is not the ideal person to be taking a seat. I'll sign that petition. Well, you got to find it first, Karen, but I know it's out there. I did see it. That's it. Like I said, I don't know how much traction it's going to get, but there is one out there. People are not happy with the decision. It's not something that you can appoint. You have to go to the Municipal Act and go through the whole procedure. So going forward, I just heard this yesterday. I haven't confirmed it from the city, but the Gang of Six or the Clan of Six or the Gang of Six, whatever you want to call them, before they left, they fired the city solicitor. So, if this weren't, pitiful, I mean, it would be one big joke. The city solicitor, I remember many times the Gang of Six asking him different questions and they weren't happy with the answers that he was giving. And Martin Medeiros basically said he went outside for legal counsel because he wasn't happy with what he was getting from the city solicitor or the answers that he was getting in regards to this seat situation and the declaration and what city council could actually do to actually put someone in that seat regardless. So they fired the city solicitor. So let's run through, because you know what? I'm losing track of how many people these, have been fired by this Gang of Six. They started with the CAO. He's gone. The HR director, they fired him. The director of communications, they fired him. The project manager, he quit. I guess before he saw the flames coming to him, he quit. And now the city solicitor. And the funny thing was, in the last council meeting, they were asking the interim CEO, Paul Morrison, basically, how is it so difficult to get people? Well, if you're firing all your top staff, who would want to come to the city to actually do a position, basically because you don't like the answers they give, or you don't fall in between their category of what you want to do? It's a ridiculous situation. The six has to change. And tomorrow, basically, they're only 5-5 because, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as the Municipal Act, we will see exactly what goes on. But they have, if it's 5-5, it's going to be a dead heat. But, they just continue to fire people. Unbelievable. It is unbelievable, right? Not even supporting full-fledged university. Well, the university is another problem, is that because now the Gang of Six, which is down to 5, they have us in that special meeting that they're going to have. I think it's either Friday or Thursday, I'm not sure, for covering the university costs. They want to do an audit on the $600,000 that was spent to try and get a university in Brampton. They said that, there's a whole bunch of different things in there that they want to do a forensic audit on, which is fine. Forensic audit is great. I got no problem with that. But at the same time, going forward, let's do a forensic audit on the $1 million that you're spending on a barn that's basically a piece of garbage. From what I understand, I'm still waiting for this report, and I know that what's in it. Only 20% of those timbers are actually any good. This $1 million barn is going to cost a lot more than $1 million to the citizens of Brampton. How about doing a financial audit on that to save the taxpayers money? But the Brampton University, they're going ahead with the forensic audit. Fine, let's see what happens for that. If they're so concerned about taxpayers' money, I want to see audits on a whole bunch of other things going forward. Well, we have a whole bunch of deputy dogs, Mike. We have 2 deputy mayors. One is Martin Medeiros and the other is Pat Fortini. So those are basically doing flag raisings and everything else, right? At city council meetings, the mayor is attending. He is at those attendings. But I guess if you need to open a restaurant or an IHOP, you call for the deputy dog and he'll do it. What else we got? Any other questions? We got no more and thanks for the petition. Well, I didn't put the petition out there, but I do know the petition is there. Also, who's going to pay the legal bills for those outside opinions that Martin Medeiros and Pat Fortini got on different things on the Municipal Act? Who's paying for that? Is that coming out of Martin Medeiros and Pat Fortini's pocket, or is it coming out of the taxpayers' pocket? That's the other thing. If you want to do a legal bill, that's fine. Do it on your own coin. But you had a city solicitor there giving you advice. You didn't like it. Now you fired him. And now let's see who pays for those outside city solicitor or city or legal bills that you have tried to get, to get your opinion only on. Right. So it's going to be interesting. The other thing on the agenda tomorrow is October 24th is the municipal election. That's the municipal election date for this upcoming year. There is a motion put forward on the floor by Councillor Paleshi and Singh to actually change that date from October 24th to a different date. And the reason is because apparently that date is Diwali and Divas. So it's a Sikh and a Hindu celebrations on the exact same date as the provincial election. To me, doesn't make a difference to me. I guess it would be like having an election at Christmas. We have a large Sikh and Hindu population, so it could go either way. Some people say no, some people say yes, but that's an interesting thing. So they're going to ask, basically, they're going to go to the chief electoral officer and see if that date can be changed. I don't know if that's a possibility. I don't know if it's a grandstand, but we'll see what happens on there. That's an interesting thing that came up in city council that's going to be coming up tomorrow. What else we got? What other comments we got there, Om? You're a little bit slow on the uptake. Fav's a little bit quicker, getting comments out on the board. Hasich, come out of their own pocket. I agree. I don't think that, like any outside legal advice, if you want to go outside and get outside legal advice to get your point of view across and not use a city solicitor, then you should pay for your out-of-pocket. I don't want to see any expense account coming from Martin Medeiros or Pat Fortini for legal bills, especially why there's a situation. That's why we have advanced polls. Bring that up again. That's a good point. We have advanced polls. So basically, yeah, if you wanted to vote in the election before October 24th, you actually could. So that is a good point as well. Yeah. Voting early. Well, yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, it might be a good idea too. I mean, I'm not like, Diwali is big with, and Divas as well. I mean, we have a large population of Sikh and Hindus in Brampton, probably, the biggest across the GTA. I don't know if the chief electoral officer is going to move that date just for Brampton, but we'll see. We'll see what happens, right? Demographics change, things change. Brampton used to be a small town of 30,000 people, and then we grew, and things changed. So let's see what happens. You can only bring it to the CFO and see what happens. Right. The other thing that was interesting is cricket stadium. I don't know if you people remember, there was Kerry Kaplan. Kerry Kaplan was I think it was the general manager, his title was the general manager of the Brampton Beast. He came back to council just recently last week, and one of his things was he wanted to actually get the land at the CAA from the city. The city would actually give this consortium the land at the CAA, and they would build a cricket stadium. So he valued the land at $1 million an acre, and it was funny because Councillor Pelleshi came up and said, "Where did you get this $1 million valuation for an acre?" And Kerry's answer was, "Oh, well, we got that 3 years ago from city staff." 3 years ago, yes, I could buy a house for a lot less than what I buy now. I think Peleshi's number was closer to 4 million. So this is the same guy in the same organization, the Brampton Beast, that got $1.5 million taxpayers' money with no audits, no nothing. The report came out after saying they couldn't trace anything or where the money went. So this guy is back in front. One of the things he said was he needed a decision between 60 and 90 days from now, or else he'll take it to another city. So he's basically given an ultimatum to the city saying, here's my proposal, 15-minute proposal. I need 60 or 90 days of decision on a $100 million project or plus $100 million project. I don't think so, right? It would be very, very stunning to me that if the city agreed to this, especially with this guy connected to the last Brampton Beast and the $1.5 million, the taxpayers' money that we shelled out. Yeah, raising property tax piece. Okay. It was funny. So if you want to see that, we're going to actually do a few clips, but we just ran out of time. But if you want to see the presentation, it is on the previous, if you go to the city's website on the last council meeting, there is a presentation by Kerry Kaplan and these people, so you can actually see what it's about. But to me, it's like, I don't think so. You don't give money to someone who says I got 60 or 90 days, and we need to have this cricket stadium approved before then, with nothing, no plans, no idea. But how much money, what's involved in the whole situation. To me, it's just ludicrous. But anyway, moving right along. It's going to be a shorter show than it was. Normally we go to 7 o'clock. It's going to be a little bit shorter because there's a couple of things that have to be done in regards to going forward. But the other thing is J Red is closing. For those who know J Red, it's a restaurant down at Main and Vauden. It's been in Brampton for about 4 or 5 years. They came in. Jason Rosso is the owner. The last 2 years, I guess, have been really tough with the COVID. I know when we talked to him several times over the last 2 years about the difficulties dealing with COVID, dealing with the close downs, dealing with food. I mean, a lot of times he has taken his food that he had in his freezers, and he had to close down for 3 months because of the lockdowns. And he basically made all those meals and he gave them to organizations that were giving to the poor. So, he's giving back to the community, not only just having a restaurant, but actually giving the food that would go to waste otherwise, and he wouldn't be able to use it into the food banks and everything else. So it's something like, you lose someone like Jason Rosso who's given to the community. He's actually passionate about Brampton. He's very accessible. I remember ever since he came in, he's always been out there doing stuff in the community. It's too bad because his restaurant's good. I've enjoyed it like many other people in Brampton, but July 23rd is the last day. So in the meantime, if you can get out and support a local business, I know it's a little bit too late, but restaurants have been taking a beating during the COVID, probably more than any other business involved in there because of the food situation. They have to buy and they have to stock it and then they have to get rid of it. So it's a little bit different than having a clothing store or something like that. Like I said, July 23rd he closes. So in the meantime, go visit him, give him a last kudos for making Brampton his home for all these years. He was a good supporter of Brampton, and he's a good supporter in the community as well. So, do we got anything more going on? Any other comments?
No other comments.
No other comments. Is that it? That's it?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, and by the way, you're studying finance. What are you studying finance in? What is your major? Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you like working with Brampton Focus.
Well, I've been part of Brampton Focus for almost 4 years now, and I love studying finance because I know like everybody knows how research focused it is and analytic focused it is, and I think that's something I've always learned throughout high school. And when I graduated out of high school, I knew that I wanted to pursue that, and I always loved coming to Brampton Focus back because I think I get to be involved in the community. Every year looks different. This year we're working on with local organizations regarding different apps, and we're hosting an event. We're trying to plan and host an event at the end of the summer. So I think that's why I come back to Brampton Focus every summer. It's exciting, and I think it's great working with the team like Hiral and Perry, and also you and Faz. They've always shown support towards anything that I wanted to do. So I think those are the reasons coming back.
So let me ask you, as a finance, what do you think of Pierre Pipi? I like to call him Pipi's idea of basically basing, using cryptocurrency as a fund against or a hedge fund against inflation. What do you think of that?
I think that's completely nonsense. If you look at what crypto has done over the last 2 months, it's fallen down 60 to 70%. And so if it was less volatile, and if it was actually a hedge to inflation, it should have done much better. Something like an asset like gold or U.S. oil. I definitely don't believe that crypto is a hedge against inflation.
So let me ask you another thing. What do you have a lot of your money in right now? Do you have it in stocks or bonds?
Right now, I have it in just index funds: Boring Gold, S&P 500, and Nasdaq, and TSX composite funds. Right now, it's so difficult to pick any stocks, but always go with the big companies: Microsoft, Facebook, Apple. They will always come out of this stronger, and they will survive forever.
And what about banks? You investing in banks?
Canadian banks. Canadian banks are so strong. They were strong during the 08-09 recession. Canadian capital markets have always been strong, and regardless of what happens in the macro, I believe that Canadian banks will be able to survive through this. If they were able to survive 08-09, this is nothing compared to what was that. So Canadian banks and American banks in great position to come out of this even stronger.
Okay, well, thank you for that, Om. If you don't get a job, you're looking for a job and you're going into the third year. So if there's any companies out there, what are you looking for? You're looking for what?
I'm looking for jobs in investments. I just said something related to stock market that I can put the knowledge that I've learned in my degree. I would love to apply that after I graduate. But yes, as Mike said, working for the city would be great, and I would love to do that one day.
He's got another comment about listening. You can bring that up.
Yeah, yes. I think you're talking to Professor Dammerdern, and yes, I do believe he's a great professor, and I do listen to him on a daily basis. I think all finance community listens to him on a daily basis. He's a great professor.
Well, the thing is, Mike may be listening to him, but he doesn't have any money to invest. All right. Well, thank you, Om, for doing the show. Thank you. In the back end, we'll probably be using you a little bit going forward because you've done a great job. You need to brush up on those comments, bringing them in quicker. But we'll see everybody. You won't see me next week. You're going to see Faz because I'm going to be somewhere else on next Tuesday. But you will probably see Om again on the back end. All right. So thank you for joining us. Thank you, Om, for doing the back end. And we'll see you 2 weeks from now. Thank you and have a great night.
Bye bye.